Hey everybody, happy Christmas Eve. We're back again. This is the West Atlanta Bourbon Society, WABS. Today we're in a special place. Of course, as you can see, we're not in the usual place that we do our post at. A good friend of mine, John Smith, who's manning the bar right now, he's not in the post, but he's the owner of Trilogy Cigar Lounge here in Atlanta. We are actually doing this post at Trilogy Cigar Lounge. Now, I know you're going to ask, why are we doing this post at Trilogy Cigar Lounge versus the normal place? Well, the reason why is because today we've got something really special for you guys. Today we are actually tasting and reviewing the Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend Bourbon. So, of course, if we're doing a cigar blend bourbon, we need to be smoking cigars. And what better place to do it than Trilogy Cigar Lounge? Trilogy Cigar Lounge is one of the #1 lounges in Atlanta and one of the best lounges to be able to smoke a stick at. We are accompanied today with one of our bourbon members, one of our WABS members from Birmingham, Mr. Yi Feng Gao, and
Gary Jordan.
Gary Jordan.
Gary Jordan of Trilogy Cigar Lounge.
Yeah, he's actually one of the co-owners of Trilogy Cigars, and he's going to smoke a cigar and drink some of our bourbon with us, and we're going to talk about the bourbon. Today we're doing, like I said, the Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend Bourbon. It is at, what's the proof on this one? It's batch number 9, and it's bottle 55 of 542 bottles. It is a blend of bourbon. So it's a blend of bourbon, straight bourbon whiskeys that are finished in Armagnac, sherry, and then cognac casks. So there we go. Hey, John. Everybody know John? Linnell, shout out. This is John. This is who I was talking about. We're actually going to taste. We've already cracked open your 7-year Willet bourbon, and if we get time tonight, after we close, he might come by and stop by, and we'll go ahead and review that. I promise you I'll do that, and I promise Linnell I will. But back to what we were actually tasting today. The proof on this is, it's so hard to see this iridescent label, but I think it's close to is it 100? There you go. I think it's 108 or 111 proof. You see it? It's so hard to see.
It's 58.7%.
58.7. So you double that to get the proof. So 58.7 would be
117.
Huh?
117.
Bingo. He's good at math. He has to be to run a business, right? 117 proof. Okay.
There you go. Batch number 9, bottle 55 out of
542.
542.
Yeah. So it is MGP juice. They blend MGP juice with their Joseph Magnus juice. So the MGP juice is usually 74% corn, 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley. And they pair that with their Joseph Magnus regular blend, and then they finish it in extra cask. They finish it in a Pedro Jimenez sherry cask, an Oloroso sherry cask, an Armagnac cask, and a cognac cask. And that's how they get this blend. This blend is supposed to be fantastic to go with cigars. So, like I said, we're here today smoking cigars and drinking some good bourbon. Everybody got your cups? And let me get... There you go. Pour your poison. So, since it's 117 proof, here's what we usually do. We usually take the first sip straight after smelling it and giving a review of the nose, and then we'll add a little bit of water. Anything over 110 proof, we usually add a little bit of water just to see if it changes it, to see if it breaks it down. Sometimes they can break up the ester alcohols and change the nose on it. But we'll start off with it as it is. So we'll smell it.
Fantastic.
It is.
You know, I'm a big fan of everything that comes out of MGP.
Yep.
I don't think I've had anything from them that I didn't like.
Yeah. He's also a real big fan of Smooth Ambler. He's a rye guy, so that's one of his favorite mash bills because it's high rye, it's 21% rye.
Exactly.
So that's right up his alley all day long, right? I'm getting like cherry cobbler, a little bit of
Cherry.
butter,
leather.
yeah, old leather on the nose.
A little bit of clove.
Yeah, definitely got the
Hint
cherry.
of vanilla.
Super thick, super viscous.
Yeah,
It should be a very good pour.
the legs are fantastic, right? And what did you say? You said a little bit of leather,
Old leather. A little bit of clove.
a little clove.
I concur with all of that.
Oh, that's good. All right, let's take a sip, guys.
Gary likes it.
Is it, wow, that really coats your tongue. It's a cherry bomb, though. It's a real big cherry bomb.
Definitely.
Kind of puts you in the mind of not stag, but maybe like Stag and Four Roses married together.
Yeah, if you were to do a mashup, it has a lot of what you would expect from what would typically be like a overcooked bourbon, which is what I love. I love that raw burn. I love that heavy alcohol content. It's delicious. Like, it's definitely a cherry bomb. You definitely get a lot of that. I'm picking up a little bit of wood. Some beautiful caramel notes.
Hello.
It's awesome.
How are you? Fantastic.
It's very smooth for this high proof. It's 58.7%. Very easy to go down. And above medium viscosity. So which is great.
Yeah, it's definitely got a good mouthfeel to it. It's nice and thick, and viscous would go real good with a cigar, so you don't get that cotton mouth, that dry mouth. But again, we won't know till we spark up the cigar. He's already done that.
It's got a very long finish. It's still going. It's definitely the finish is definitely over 1 minute.
Yeah, definitely over a minute finish. Man, I almost hate to add some water to it, but let me do a little bit of that.
Would that be the same as adding a cube?
Cube will change it because so here's the problem I have with cubes. Yeah, so cubes add coolness, right? Coolness dulls down the flavor. So then you're just drinking hot or cool alcohol. You know what I'm saying? I'm a proponent of just adding a little bit of water. If you add water, it still breaks it down, but it doesn't change the flavor of the bourbon. So when you're drinking higher, really expensive bourbons and stuff that you really want to taste the flavor of, if you add it, that's a good question for everybody here. If you add a cube of ice, it tends to numb some of the flavors. You numb the cherry, you numb the wood, you numb some of that stuff. But whereas if you just add a little drop of water, just enough to, just a thimbleful of water, it'll break open the bonds of the alcohol, and it'll change the flavor and should change the smell of the bourbon too. So if you add a little bit of water now, you'll see it'll change the flavor of the bourbon.
I'm smashing.
Man, it didn't change it as much. It made it a little sweeter, but it still has that great cherry, oaky. I mean, it's still beautiful to me. Maybe I didn't add enough water. I just added just a smidgen of water, but I didn't add a whole lot at all. Yeah, that's more water than I probably added.
Yeah, it does smell a little bit sweeter.
Mm-hmm. It took away a lot of the burn though when I did that. It did make it a little sweeter on the palate.
The best way, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The best way is to add water and don't disturb it for at least 5 minutes. But here we're doing a video here, so we're swirling it around to
Speed up the process.
Speed up
yeah.
the process.
Because we can't wait 5 minutes. It'll be a 40-minute post, right? Yeah.
Unless we were doing cutaways.
Right. Which we don't know how to do yet because I don't know
5 minutes
nothing
later.
about how to do this. Yeah. Take a break. Doop. Actually, some people do that. We don't. I don't know how to do all that yet.
2019.
Right. I'm gonna figure that out this year. That's my New Year's resolution is to figure out how to do better posts. But I mean, it's really brought out a little bit of the sweet flavors of it. It wasn't bad as was. It was just a little hot because, like I said, it's 117, 118 proof. So when you add that little bit of water, brought it back down to close to the 100 proof mark, and it made it real nice and sweet and buttery, but still has the sherry, still has the cherry, still has the real oaky flavors and balances in it. I like it. I love it, actually. I do better than like it. I love it. For I don't know how much it is, like I'll say about $150 bottle, maybe $200 bottle, secondary market. It beats a lot of things that I've had. It's definitely really good. I want to try it with a cigar and see how that tastes. But I would say it's something to buy. At a bar, you're going to pay a premium for it. So if you buy it at the bar, you might as well buy a bottle. See, anything that's under $200 to $300, if you buy a pour at $30, $40, $50, you've paid for a heavy portion of the bottle. So at that point, I would say you just have to buy the bottle. Because if you buy just the shot, you've blown half of the bottle or a third of the bottle, or so on and so forth. So what do you think? Buy the bottle?
Yeah,
buy it
if
at
you
the
can
bar,
find
or
a
bust?
bottle-
Is it nasty?
Right. If you can find a bottle for a reasonable price, somewhere below secondary market price, I highly recommend picking up a whole bottle.
Right. And today I've paired it with the Pappy Van Winkle cigar, but that's just what I have. We also have the better thing to pair it with is the Trilogy cigars. Trilogy line of cigars. They have their own line of cigars that they get. I'll let him talk about it. It's a little bit of
So this one here is called the Anatomy 2. It's a Trilogy brand cigar. We make it ourselves. It's blended with a San Andreas wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, and it has 60% Dominican, 40% Nicaraguan blend as far as the filler goes. So it's pretty robust. It's a perfect cigar for this type of drink.
Let's get it up a little bit so we can see you. Yeah, awesome. So you think the Anatomy 2 would go good with the cigar blend? Okay. So anybody in Atlanta or anybody abroad, if you want to pair a cigar with the Joseph Magnus bourbon, you'd want to get the Anatomy 2. And you can find them at Trilogy Cigars. Are you online? Do you have a presence anywhere?
Yeah, Trilogy Cigar Lounge, TrilogyCigarLounge.com, or Instagram, Trilogy ATL, Facebook, Trilogy ATL.
Okay.
You can also email us to order at hello@trilogyatl.com.
So you can order cigars through
ATL.
TrilogyATL.com, right? So you can order the cigars, get your Joseph Magnus, and pair them together and see. So what is the balance of the talk a little bit about the cigar and the bourbon, and what do you think the balance is on it, or what you think would be what complements that cigar and that bourbon?
All right. Well,
While I spark mine up.
I would say at first taste of it, with as strong as this drink is, the cigar is it's evenly matched. You know what I'm saying? So it covers your palate the exact same way. It's really robust, really flavorful. It's got I would say a little bit of it's a little oaky. It's got a few floral notes in it as well. But it's mostly mostly earthy kind of blend. And then anything with Nicaraguan tobacco in it is going to be a little bit more robust anyway. It's going to be a little bit more spicy because the seed that grows in Nicaragua, it grows in that volcanic soil, so it makes it a little bit more robust. That's what I like about it. That's what I like about this cigar, and that's also what I like about this drink. It's very robust and it's pretty aggressive on my palate.
So the robustness of the cigar kind of complements the robustness of the Joseph Magnus bourbon. Right?
Indeed, for me, I would say that's definitely the case.
Yeah. And it's a very wet mouthfeel. So again, the Joseph Magnus bourbon will pair real well with a cigar because the cigar tends to get your mouth a little drier, and that tends to wet it again, right? Yeah.
Indeed, like you said, it coats your tongue really nice. The bourbon coats your tongue really nice. So, take a sip of this, get that coat on your tongue, take a couple of hits of the cigar, you'll be in heaven. Like so.
So, the other thing we like to ask, so would you buy it at the bar? Would you buy a bottle, or do you think it's not worth buying as a bust? So, bar, bottle, bust.
No, it's definitely worth having on hand, personally. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would definitely have my own personal bottle. And it would definitely be it'd be private stock. You know what I'm saying? I'm only drinking this with friends. This is wonderful. Like you said, at the bar, you're gonna pay way more. You're gonna pay like 30% markup. Like, you know,
Right, it's just not worth it. And it's a good thing to pair with your cigars at home, right? So cigar aficionados, this is a good bottle to pair with that.
If you got a pretty nice humidor at the house, you know what I'm saying, maybe 10, 15 sticks, this is definitely something to have if you like to get together with friends and have cigars on the weekends or whenever. This is definitely the bourbon to have as well.
I like it. So out of a scale of, we do a scale. So our scale is anywhere from 60 to 100. 60 being drain, from 60 to 69 is basically drain pour. You'd never want to drink it. Anything from 70 up until about 79 is kind of like mixing bourbon. Doesn't taste real good by itself, but it's a good mixing bourbon. And then anything from 80 to 89 is a good sipping bourbon, but it's just good. Anything from 89 up to, you know this already, we've done a billion of these, up to 100 is fantastic. 96 to 100 being like something that blows your socks off that you've never had before. That is the best bourbon in the world, hands down. We're going to ask for ratings on that. How would you rate that bourbon?
All right, this one I would give it. I'm going to give it a range. It's hard to just give the drink one score.
Right.
So I'd give it somewhere between 85 to 87.
85 to 87. Okay. So his range is 85 to 87. So it's a good drinking bourbon, good sipping bourbon.
Yeah.
Not quite in the 90s, not quite
Right.
fantastic, but a very good sipping bourbon. Okay. What do you think, sir?
Well, if I can, I'd like to get his breakdown on the flavor of the cigar.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So, what I'm smoking today, I'm smoking a cigar that we manufacture called the MIA. The MIA features Pennsylvania broadleaf as well as Pennsylvania fillers with a Honduran binding. That's just a fancy way of saying that this is going to be a really spicy smoke, but it's also going to be very smooth and creamy. What I do like about this pairing is the legs, the viscosity of the smoke. Goes very well with the viscosity of the bourbon. The two actually, they don't fight each other, they kind of meld together, which is what you really want ideally in a cigar and spirits bourbon. You want two things that don't fight. Whether those flavors contrast or whether they're complementary, you don't want them to actually fight and overwhelm your palate. With that said, I have to rate this bourbon along with the cigar that I'm having it with.
Right.
I would give it between a 90 and a 91. I think it's a phenomenal bourbon to pair with a cigar. The cherry flavors in it is a note that you don't get from most cigars, but this particular cigar that I'm smoking has a little bit of a cinnamon undertone, cinnamon and leather. With that and the cherry bomb flavor that this is, along with some of the woodiness, some of that aged bourbon that you taste in here, I think the two marry together perfectly. If I had it without a cigar, who knows what I would rate it, but I do like the flavors on this. They marry beautifully with the cigar, so I rate the pairing together as about a 91.
Okay, so 91. You said that recap is that the flavor of the liquor actually pairs well with and that's the MIA.
The MIA.
The MIA. So Trilogy MIA cigar is the one that you would probably want to either the MIA or the Anatomy 2 are the two that you'd want to pair with.
It's definitely similar to what I would experience, to what I'm experiencing with the Anatomy 2.
Anatomy 2. Okay, yeah, that's more peppery, so it'll bring out some of the peppery notes, whereas the MIA brings out more of the.
Yeah, in the two sticks you have a very spice-forward blend. That Anatomy 2 has a Mexican San Andreas leaf that you find in Padrones and some Olivas, like the Melania, which was the cigar of the year a couple of years ago. That pepper profile, I can tell, even though I haven't had the two together, it's going to go great with the sweet syrupiness of this particular bourbon. So this is a bourbon that I think, unless you were smoking something mild on the spectrum, like maybe a Dominican leaf that hasn't been aged or fermented, something with a Connecticut type wrapper, anything from medium to full body is really going to complement this.
Nice, okay. And he gave it a 90 to 91, right, on that.
So
what is yours now?
I would go 90. 90 is what I was thinking, right between what him and
Okay.
what I'm saying. So yeah, definitely. I would definitely enjoy drinking this.
So it's definitely an upper echelon bourbon that you would drink with a
Indeed,
nice cigar.
Yeah, because my palate reacts immediately upon the first sip. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, there it is, guys. You've got it. Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend Bourbon. Goes well with any kind of Trilogy cigars that you find out there. Please check us out. Check us out at West Atlanta Bourbon Society. Check out some of our other posts that we have. Hopefully tonight we're going to see if we can do that Linnell's Willett birthday bottle of bourbon. We're going to try to do that post late tonight, so it'll be a Christmas Eve post for y'all. Shout out to her for selling us a bottle for the Bourbon Society. We appreciate it. Again, shout out to Trilogy Cigar ATL. It's a cigar lounge, #1 cigar lounge in Atlanta. It also has some of the best sticks. You're going to need to hit them up and get some sticks to go with your cigar blend, your Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend bourbon. All right, guys, this is us. Drink more bourbon. Cheers.
This is us. Hit TV show, by the way.
Cheers.